So how about this? I was trying to do a live on my other phone and it like won't do it. It's like it's almost like it's saying, Carla, you have a new phone now. Use the new phone. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I want to try doing my live vertical. I just did an Instagram live earlier today and the video was like this and I like it. I don't know. Anyways, I did something new yesterday. My name is Carla. Welcome to my page. I'm all about that self-aware self-care. And today I want to talk about trying new things and how sometimes when we have expectations or specific outcomes, it can call us into being really inauthentic. And I did a talk yesterday that is similar, hinges on this, but I want to talk about what I tried new yesterday and it was cool. So one of my friends on here is Mary Terrell. Hey Mary, if you're watching this. Yesterday I tried her Reiki session and it was amazing. It was just kind of interesting. I think I entered it without expectation, and the fact that it just was totally something that left me feeling relaxed, and it's just kind of cool to try something different. So the idea, and this is how she explained it, is that it almost is like, so she can do it remotely. She didn't have to be in the same space with me, but almost like she is just sending these like positive energy vibes my way. And I told her I didn't have a specific outcome. And I noticed more and more that whenever we have a specific outcome, it really calls us into being inauthentic. And I'll explain why I say that. But the main thing is that whenever we have an expectation, we almost shift the focus from how we are being and how we feel about something, and we automatically shift our focus to this like end point. And then the end point almost turns into this thing that we're trying to get. And then as long as we're trying to get something, hey Selah, hey Suzette. So as long as we're trying to get something, it almost is the same as, here's the example. It's almost like when you meet someone and you think they're attractive, or you go on a date with someone and you have this expectation that, you're going to get something from them, whether it be gifts or, some relations or marriage, whatever the case may be. You get into this zone of focusing on that outcome and not as much on just enjoying their company or asking them certain questions. I recently had a client that was seeing this guy, and she wasn't asking him these questions that she did want to know, that she definitely has these standards that she wants and these certain qualities that she's looking for, but she was almost afraid to ask the guy because she was afraid of what she might hear, that it might be different than what she wanted, because she kind of started focusing on the person. So that's one example. And I think whenever we shift to focusing on an example like that, it calls us into almost being a little bit like changing how we're being in order to get that outcome. And so I went into that experience yesterday without any expectation, because I wanted to fully just experience it as it was without trying to have an idea of it. And then earlier today, I had my first experience with Akashic Records, and I have read about it a lot, but I never actually had a reading. And I know a couple of people who do that, but I thought it was really cool because it seemed intuitive. I even said something to Kundin about it, but he told me, of course, he's had training in it and all of that stuff, and he had a lot of experience with it before actually using it. But I just thought it was kind of interesting, something different, something new. And whenever we're going into a situation where we're experiencing something new, the only way we can be authentic with it is to just be as much in the experience without trying to focus on it being a certain way. Because as soon as we start focusing on something being a certain way, then we kind of call ourselves into acting a certain way or trying to be something. And it just gets inauthentic. I'm going to read you a quick quote from Joseph Campbell, and then I'm going to start to wrap up for today. And it's really just an invitation to notice wherever you might be expecting something or wherever you might be focusing on an outcome, because whenever we do that, we automatically get inauthentic. So I have a couple of things that I do that you can also do if you want to pull back so that you're not being this being a doing instead of a being. And then Joseph Campbell says, I think the person who takes a job in order to live, that is to say, just for the money, has turned himself into a slave. And we all know that a lot of people will live that life where they're being a slave just for money. But it's true that we also can do that thing where we're just being a slave for love, or we're just being a slave for having things, materialistic things, or we're just being a slave in order to keep certain people around. I've done that. I know clients who have done that. And it's this thing where if you were fully aware and fully conscious, you probably wouldn't do that. Like if you were face to face with someone, there is a level to which you would not go out of your standards in order to keep that person around. But you have to also look at the standards, like there are certain standards that you have that you wouldn't go beyond in order to keep someone around. And that is true for even before you get to that point though, you know what I mean? So the same way you see someone who is selling themselves on the street, it's that same vibe, but it's just a different level of that same vibe. So when you can be aware of that, there's a couple things you can do. You can focus on the experience and having fun, or like, how can I make this fun? How can I make this enjoyable? How can I really express me in this or be different in this? The other thing I like to do is make sure I ask a lot of questions. I was asking all the questions yesterday in that experience, and I actually have another session with her too for hypnotherapy, but you can feel it when people do it, and I try to be more aware even with me, so I can feel when I might be doing that thing where you're almost just doing rather than really being. And we actually have a culture that calls us into that doing so much so that it's easy to disconnect from your senses. It's easy to disconnect from your standards because you're trying to live up to that image thing that our culture plays up as so important. But the truth is, at the end of the day, is if all you have is that image, it's so empty. It's so empty, and it's not ever going to be enough. And so you end up having to always go through that cycle of doing, and then you never actually have the experience of being. And that's all we ever really want, is that experience of being, So I'm trying a lot of new things this week, actually, and I wanted to talk about it in such a way that was does what I'm actually experiencing too, so that I can be as authentic as possible. But that's all I have for you today. I actually also will tell you that I've got a vision board event coming up. It's on August 15th, and I'm excited about that. I was thinking the other day that I always have liked painting and stuff, so I'm really excited about this. I actually was doing a little bit of art stuff over the weekend. So this is just a little bit more purposeful art stuff. August 15th, it's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're gonna go in on painting your vision board. And when you paint your vision board, it's going to be really focused on your purpose and what you want to bring into fruition over the next, say, like year to 2 years. Because you want to be able to look at it and feel empowered and motivated and just really feel connected to something that is true and authentic for you. Because the other thing that goes hand in hand with what I've just told you about just being more of the being and instead of the doing is that when you switch it to focusing on a vision that you want to bring to life, then you focus a little bit less on these little specific outcomes that call us into being inauthentic. Because more likely, if you have a vision for the future, you're already just different. Because most people don't have a vision for the future. So if you have a juicy vision for the future, something that you want to bring to life in the next couple of years, that is amazing. And it can pull you forward. And it's going to pull you forward into the most authentic version of yourself. That is the most powerful thing that we do when we bring our visions to life. Is that, yes, it does call us to rise above self-doubt. It calls us to rise above the very basic ways that most of us kind of survive, right? It's out of survival mode and it's into more of just really living a life that is authentic and juicy and interesting and challenging, and does call us into doing things that are new and out of our comfort zone, which is basically the best thing that we can hope for. So that event is on August 15th. Get into my inbox if you want details on that. The other thing I have going on right now is, my group. I have a Facebook group where we focus on mindset stuff, and I've actually structured our days a lot more. So we also focus a lot on self-care, because the other thing too that you'll start to realize as you're on this just higher than normal journey is that self-care is really important. So long as you have a big vision, or you're doing something that's a little bit higher or a lot higher than the people who are around you, you have to really take care of that inner world. You have to make sure that you're working on your meditation, or you're working on making sure you focus on your vision. So those things become super crucial and important, because that is what's going to allow you to be the most authentic, even around people who you used to try to keep around. So that group is Everyday Magic Mind, and I've got the link in my cover right above, so you can look in my cover and the link to my group is in there. So hop into my group. Let me know if you try to get that vision board out. It's on August 15th. Get an inbox for that. I'll plug the link below too, so you guys can grab it. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. This is one of my 365 lives. So I'm doing the damn thing, and I don't know, I kind of like it vertical. So I'm probably gonna keep it like that for a while. Anyways, I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.